So you're thinking about making the jump. You've watched the YouTube videos, you've scrolled through Facebook groups, and you've convinced yourself that Southeast Asia is the ultimate cheat code for retirement. Cheap beer, warm weather, and if you're a single guy, the promise of a beautiful, friendly woman who actually wants to spend time with you. But before you liquidate your 401k and book that one-way ticket, I need to tell you a few things. Because what you're seeing online with most YouTubers is a carefully curated illusion. It's the highlight reel. And if you come out here expecting the highlight reel, you're going to crash and burn. Let's talk about some important realities first. First up, dating. Too many men rush overseas with this fantasy that women are just going to walk up to them in public, chit-chat, and hope you take them to dinner. And no, I'm not talking about the bar girls. I'm talking about regular women. And let me break it down by country, because they are very different. When I was in Vietnam, women didn't seem interested in even chatting with me. I'd say hello. Some would literally just walk away. Imagine that. A few were receptive, sure, but not that many. The idea that you're going to be swarmed with attention in Vietnam, not going to happen. And don't tell me about the few that get it. Thai women, I've been told they are mostly transactional. Haven't been there. They will love you absolutely as long as you're spending money on them. It's a financial arrangement, and you need to be careful. Be realistic. If you are 70 years old, out of shape, and 50 pounds overweight, and a beautiful 28-year-old is showing interest, most likely she's interested in your wallet. I've seen too many videos from Thailand and the Philippines of men losing their life savings in a matter of a year or two after arriving. Then you have the Philippines. Filipinos are incredibly friendly, outgoing, and they speak English. But here's the trap. Don't decide that every girl willing to talk to you is interested in romance. If you want a real relationship, treat them the way you treat a woman back home in your home country. Don't assume she wants to go straight to the hotel for some boom boom. And if they offer first date boom, they ain't marriage material in most cases. Though some will be ready for the first date booming, so I'm told. Hey, I've made it 70 years without getting an STD. I'm going to keep the streak going. But the biggest mistake you can make with Filipinos thinking they are all unsophisticated, uneducated, delicate creatures. Both of those thoughts couldn't be further from the truth. Actually, three, right? They know exactly what you are and what they're worth. Be realistic. The scenario I spelled out about being with a young Thai woman is the same in the Philippines, maybe more. I've seen more videos from the Philippines where a woman took a man for everything. If you're 60 pounds overweight, bald, and average looking at best, and a gorgeous 25-year-old Filipina shows interest, it's that gold necklace you're wearing that tells her you're the one, the rich one. And then there's Cambodia, my home base. Siem Reap. Cambodian women are different. They are reserved. They hold tightly to their Buddhist culture. There's exceptions, of course, but the rule is they are reserved. And it's not just the Thai women. There's one thing that stands out about Cambodia, both with locals and the foreigners. Honest. Generally speaking, most people here are reserved, even the foreigners. You can have a chat with a fellow expat at any cafe, but they seem to be, for the most part, someone that is cautious, a bit introverted, some, not all, and not quick to make friends, while still being friendly if you want a cafe chat. It's hard to establish real friendships here. Not impossible, but not easy. If you want to make friends, you have to be willing to put it out there. Your time, that is. Now stay with me while I did do a comparison on women in the top Southeast Asian countries that Americans choose in other countries. This video is really about you, because here's the hard statistical fact. 30% of all foreigners return to their home country within the first 3 years. They pack their bags, They borrow the money from the brother to buy the ticket, and they go back, and here are the reasons. Number one, unrealistic expectations. You think you're going to have a life of eat, pray, love? Well, it can happen, but not overnight and not without a lot of work. That is, unless you just need to have it for the night, then you just have to open your wallet. Just don't think that you're going to end up with a gorgeous 24-year-old on your arm when you're a not so perfect 65-year-old guy with a bad knee and a fixed income. If you come here looking for that fantasy will eat you alive. It will cost you. Number two, the safety net mentality. You arrive here with the idea that if it doesn't work out, well, you can just go back. And you can't. You can keep one foot out the door, but let me tell you something. If you're thinking about going back before you even get here, you will most likely go back because you're not really committed. I've spoken with expats in the Philippines and guys right here in Siem Reap. When I ask them if they ever think of going back to their home country, their reply is almost always the same. I couldn't go back if I wanted to. And so far, not a single one of them have said they actually want to. You have to burn the ships, not just the bridges. Just the ships, and the difference is this. In a major medical emergency, yes, then it's time to go back where you can get a level of health care you need. I'm talking the big ones. Number three, financial stupidity. They don't make a budget. They don't watch their money. They live like they're on vacation for the first 6 months or a year. And when a real emergency comes up, they don't have the money, or worse, they didn't budget for their visa renewals. I don't know the exact penalty for late visa renewals here in Cambodia, but I know in Vietnam, messing up your visa can get you blacklisted. You won't be able to return. You treat your visa like an afterthought. I'm looking at a big B. I hate these big B's here, they're huge. And the country will treat you like an illegal alien. It's that simple. If you don't have the discipline to make out your budget, you better have a bank account to cover the visa and the times you spend more than your monthly check, as it will happen. Trust me. Reason number four, the refusal to assimilate. Some men just don't want to adapt. They get upset over the little things. The power goes out, they complain. The internet is slow, they complain. The food is too spicy. Yes, they complain. That type of personality doesn't make friends easily, and because they don't make friends, they end up sitting alone, drinking 50-cent beers at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and usually the other 6 days of the week. They think they're leaving because the country sucks. They think they're leaving because the locals are unfriendly. And they don't realize the truth. They're leaving because they are lonely. And they're lonely because, at the end of the day, they don't like their own company. Moving to Southeast Asia isn't a cure for a miserable life back home. If you bring your problems with you and you don't assimilate to your new home country, you will not last. You will have your problems and the problems you create in your new home. If you want to stay, you have to earn it. You have to respect the culture. You have to manage your money. You have to accept that you're a guest in their home. And most importantly, you have to be okay with the man you are when the sun goes down and the novelty wears off. Cambodia has been good to me. Siem Reap is my home, but I didn't just land me a perfect life. I had to build it. So if you're still watching and you're still serious about making the jump, do it with your eyes wide open. Leave the fantasy at the airport. Bring your reality, your budget, and your respect. If you do that, you might just be part of the 70% who actually make it. I'll see you in the next one. Oh my God, the bee's coming for me. They're this big. I'm not kidding you.